Microphone check 1 2. What is this? It is the 6 Feet of Frustration podcast with Tristan and Chase.
Hey.
I have no idea where either of them are this week. I don't know any references to anything.
I'm from a TV show.
I'm in New York.
Ah. Was that before or after 9/11?
Well, looks after.
After.
After, speaking of that, I guess we have a similar thing to go into. There has been a massive, I don't know if it's a bomb or if it was just a massive warehouse explosion in Lebanon.
Yeah, in Beirut.
Yeah, Beirut killed over 100 people, and I think like over 1,000 are injured.
Yeah, I've been watching some new stuff on that.
See, I don't know more than that, but
apparently the leading theory is that there's
terrorists?
a place that,
I'm sorry, that's the American standpoint. Everything immediately goes to terror.
Oh, well, I mean, that's what Trump said. He said it was a
Yeah.
bomb.
Bomb.
Nah, apparently it was improperly stored ammonium nitrate. And or at least that's the leading theory right now. And they think a welder accidentally ignited it or something, causing it to go up.
That's a bunch of junk science. No way. No way.
Oh, it's always terrorists, Connor.
They have weapons of mass destruction.
We can do more aggressive action if it's terrorism and not an accident, okay?
It's true.
So we learned a new way to make a bomb.
Well,
I have ammonium
not
nitrate.
a new way.
No, yeah, we've always...
That's fertilizer, which people use to
make
bombs
that's true.
anyways.
Don't they make, you can make bullets and gunpowder with that ammonium nitrate?
I think so, yeah.
At least ammonium, yeah, you can make like...
Yeah, you become a spy and you go on the enemy side and then you manufacture the guns, but you make it those guns and then you give it to the enemies, and then when you go into war, they're using the guns and they explode in their hands.
Yeah.
There you go, the long game.
The only reason I know that is because of Mad Max.
Oh.
Yeah, they have the ammonium farms, which don't sound as cool when you figure out it's just piss. Piss farm.
Oh, okay.
It's just piss and fertilizer farms.
Yeah, delicious farms.
I mean, with that kind of thing, I mean, we're in the end times, right? I mean, that's
2020
like,
just gets better and better.
End game.
End game, yeah, we're in the end. It's not a game.
To some people.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know, I'm just waiting for the aliens. They're gonna come here and be like, "We're gonna
they're
harvest
real.
you. We're gonna harvest you."
It's gonna it's gonna be like Mars attacks, right? It's gonna be like Mars attacks. Like they're coming down. They're finally ready to invade us and everything.
We come in peace. It's like, okay.
No. They finally come down. They're gonna invade us, and then they find out, oh my God, there's like no one left alive. What do we do? And then that's the end of the movie.
Looks like they all killed themselves.
Yeah, it was like, what was yeah, that's gonna be what's gonna happen.
I saw a cartoon this past weekend.
Satire cartoon.
It's one of those, like, it kind of looks like what's that farm?
Funny.
No, not the funny. No, that comic strip, the Outer Farm.
You mean, is it the?
I don't know.
I know what you're kind of talking about.
Yeah.
But I can't remember the name of it.
I forget their name. I believe it was one of theirs because it kind of looked at art style, and it was just one panel, and it showed Jesus up on the cross and two aliens, and then he said, "We got to get out of here now."
Yeah.
Funny.
I have that same outset, like with most things in culture. I think if you put yourself far enough in the back, like if you get like far enough into the background and you kind of look at things from like a wide perspective, things start looking really weird. Like if you think about, we have a religion where the entire religion is based on a guy being starved and whipped and then put up on a cross and then put in a cave for whatever reason. I don't even think he's dead. And then put in a cave, and then he comes back to life in a week. And that's the religion. That's what the religion is based. Like the entire religion forms out of that. You're like, that's pretty fucking weird. Like
all that for our sins.
All that for the sins of the people. and then you think you're like, yeah, that's pretty fucked up. Like,
and at some point prior to that, there was an apple and a snake.
Yeah, and then if you go way back in the beginning, and then so I think if you look at anything,
there's the Bible. There's a summary of the Bible. You don't need to read it.
At the beginning and the end, that's what you did.
Yeah.
But all that middle stuff doesn't matter.
There was a guy with long hair that got cut or something along the way.
I swear because I went to Bible study school and that crap when I was a kid. That's pretty much it. That's all we really learned. It was Adam and Eve and Jesus and his deeds and then his death. And that was pretty much it. There was like no Old Testament. They don't fuck with the Old Testament. They don't give kids the Old Testament. They really should though. That stuff's fucked. But that's the good stuff. Yeah, it's all New Testament. But Jesus is white though, just so everyone's aware.
Well, obviously.
Fair-skinned. No.
Not
olive skinned, not from the Middle East. He's actually from America. Mm-hmm. The Bible takes place in America.
Yeah, I think in America. I think they
he gave birth to Uncle
Montana
Sam.
In there.
Montana. A lot of Southern pride in the Bible. If you really want to.
Mm-hmm. Remember when Jesus called upon the bald eagles from above to come down and take out the Romans?
You remember that scene where they were in the Bible where they were going to have like a Ted Nugent concert, but there wasn't enough food for everyone, and so Jesus like broke bread and made all the food.
I remember that one, yeah.
That would be awesome. I would read that Bible. So make that Bible.
Yeah, you should make that Bible. It's so well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm already by like I think Christians.
Call it a
Bible, the alternative history.
The Bible. I'll call it the Bible. Yeah, the Bible.
Very creative.
Yeah, call it the Bible.
Bible babble.
The Bible babble. I mean, I'm already going to hell like by Christian standards anyways. So
everyone is
in a handbasket
until you're in your deathbed and you pray for forgiveness. Then you're good.
Did you ever hear? I remember there was a whole thing.
He always forgives you if you pray for it.
They did that. They did it in a. That's been like lampooned in so many things, but I remember like they'd have like they had like people would go to heaven and they'd see like Hitler and they'd see like Osama bin Laden. Like, oh yeah, I just prayed to Jesus and then I got into heaven. Just renounced all my sins. But no, I was there was that thing. I don't want to spend too much time on religion because I think we're gonna get in trouble. But
we've talked about a lot of.
Hey, it's his podcast. Connor's hosting.
I'm hosting our podcast.
There we go.
Anyways, like a bunch of like atheists, and then they'd always usually end up renouncing atheism on their deathbeds. That was like a big thing because they get afraid that there might all the crazy stories are actually true.
I mean, you got to grasp at all the straws at the end, right?
Yeah. But I mean, what are you gonna do?
You never know.
You never. Yeah. I don't know. I think there's a pointy sickled guy down below. Just kind of. I love Dante's Inferno though. That's a great bunch of nonsense.
Which layer would you be stuck on?
I don't remember all. I know like one of the ones. There was like one where like it's like the greedy people or something. And they're constantly having to keep their heads above like filth or.
Yeah, greed. I think that's one of the.
Is it
early ones?
Is the 7 layers like 7 deadly sins or?
No,
it's of sorts, I guess.
They have like the 7 layers, but then there's also like these, like kind of like
transition layers.
Yeah, transition limbo layers. I think like one of them is for like which they kind of put into with like purgatory kind of. With it's like unbaptized babies, I think are in there. Like they were like one of like the before you even start. I think. It's been a long time since I've looked into Dante's Inferno, but
same.
Yeah. Well, what I know with the 7 layers is you got to start with either like sour cream or guacamole.
I fucking knew.
And then you go down to cheese, tomatoes. Save the beans and meat for like last.
How about just 7 layers of cheese?
7 layers of cheese. Different cheeses or just one cheese? Or just one cheese?
There you go.
I
just want a lasagna, but every ingredient's cheese.
Sounds fun to me.
That's my dad. My dad can't stand lasagna, but He doesn't. I think it's either my dad or my mom. I don't remember which.
He's the
But, like,
opposite Garfield, anti-Garfield.
anti Garfield. But the only thing he likes about is like the cheese and I think the meat. Everything else he doesn't like about it. I think. I might be butchering it, so sorry,
So
Dad.
ground beef and ricotta. Really.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But I've never fucked with like dips and stuff. Like, is it?
Neither have I. You can
Is
get
it?
infection that way.
Yeah, staph infection. So is it actually like layers, and then you just like, stick the chip in, and you take up different layers when you pick it up, or do you like mix it and layers is just like an added thing?
No, it's usually layers, and you dip it in, and you see like the layers on the chip.
That's weird.
It's never usually mixed.
I mean, it would eventually get mixed, though. I mean, at some point.
Yeah.
I mean,
But when it's first prepped, it's just layers.
7-layer dip sounds like massive. Then
I just don't like the fact that it's like ice cold. Every time I've
I
had it, it's cold. I'm like, this should be warm.
Sounds like you came a little late to eating it.
Yeah, it was.
It's always served cold.
Yeah, that's the thing. I know with because I was like at Mazatlan once, and I never done dipping and stuff, and they give you like the chip and dip, and I was like, oh, this is cold. That doesn't make any. I always thought it would be warm, because like every party
for the beans.
No, it was
refried
like
beans, or?
No, it wasn't. I think maybe they had refried beans, but the one I went to, they had it was like a jalapeno dip kind of thing.
Oh.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't super spicy. That's probably because it was cold, but no, it sounds. That makes me think of your favorite show, Red Dwarf.
Oh yeah, I love that
I'm gonna spoil one of the funniest early episodes for you.
Spoilers.
I'm gonna plug my headphones.
Yeah, no, it's just it literally only has a connection because of that. Because everyone on the ship dies. I have to explain this to the audience. Everyone on the ship dies except for one guy and his evolved cat, and then they have a hologram and a computer. It's built for comedy, I swear. But they have, so he goes through the last human alive or whatever, goes through the people's like last words that were on the ship, and he finds that the hologram guy, who's like his superior or whatever, his last words were gazpacho soup. And so it's like this mission of him trying to figure out, and he won't tell him what it means until like finally at the very end he's like gonna have him erased because of something. I don't want to spoil the whole plot of the thing, but and so finally he's like, well, if I'm gonna die, I'll tell you what gazpacho soup means. And then he finally got to sit at because he was like a ladder climbing, like you come from the bottom and you work your promotion guy or whatever. And so he finally gets in with the higher ups of the ship for a dinner thing, and he orders gazpacho soup, but he's never had it, and so he doesn't know that gazpacho soup is meant to be served cold. And so he sends it back and tells them to warm it up, and he's just mortified in his mind that they were just laughing at him because he didn't know it's meant to be served cold. And he's like, that was my greatest disappointment in life, was that I didn't know gazpacho soup was meant to be served cold.
That's funny.
It's pretty funny.
That was his last words, but he also said, take it back.
No, what?
Yeah,
no,
take back this gazpacho soup.
His last words of gazpacho soup was like, that was his biggest, because he thought of the gazpacho soup. That was the reason he never went any higher up in the ship, is because of gazpacho soup. He didn't say gazpacho soup, take it back. He was like, his final words. That's what he said to the person who was serving him at the cap, was gazpacho soup.
All right.
The events of the gazpacho soup happened way before his death. That's what I'm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was trying to bridge the gap there, but funny show. I think that's first season. No, it might be the last episode of the first season. Gazpacho soup. I don't even know what the fuck gazpacho soup is.
It's just cold.
It's just cold. It's just
slimy. I think it's got cabbage.
I don't like.
Delicious.
I don't like things that are traditionally one thing and then they're different for no reason.
I remember when I had kimchi for the first time. I'm like, oh, this looks good. No.
The fart cloud?
I could say gazpacho is like the woolly
See,
mammoth. So.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna. I was waiting for it, and then it didn't happen. I was like, oh, kimchi. There we go.
Kimchi's like a tofu. It's a cold tofu with like spices and red pepper flakes, whatever, and just weird. I don't like it.
Where'd you have it? Was it like a sushi place or?
I think it was at Buffet Palace.
Oh, they did have kimchi. Yeah.
The place where you go to eat frog legs.
They don't have frog.
Good.
They don't have frog legs anymore.
Tasty.
I went there. I think towards the end of last year, and they didn't have them. I know. I was super disappointed.
They're tasty.
They were good. I only had them, I think, like one time, and I was like, I did not expect them to taste like this. That's good. But I think probably they weren't. I don't know even where you get frog legs this day.
I don't know.
I don't know
I
where.
have no clue.
Well, you go to the schools after dissection day.
There you go. And they're all.
That's where they got them.
That's
Yeah,
right.
you
The
eat
flavor,
all the preservatives and stuff.
Yeah, the flavor
great.
comes from the formaldehyde and yeah,
Mm.
and the alcohol mixture.
Delicious.
Tristan, do you remember? I think Chase probably had the same class, but I remember. Do you remember when we were talking about that art piece that was it was literally just a hammerhead shark in like the formaldehyde?
Art piece?
Yeah, it's like a modern art piece. That's why
This was in school?
I don't. It
wasn't
remember. It wasn't a big subject. I was just.
It was just a head.
No, it was like it was like a whole.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, I think I remember that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then eventually it started like decaying over time, and so they had to go out and catch another hammerhead shark and then put it down in the water. That's too far. That's too far. That's
too much.
That's like a toilet.
Yeah.
That's too far for me from art. That's where I started losing it. I don't think you can really call it art anymore.
You ever seen the movie Why Him? Bryan Cranston and James Franco?
Nope.
Oh yeah, where James Franco's dating Bryan Cranston's daughter, and he's like
but one of his art things in his house is a moose. It's a whole moose just encased in urine. As like a art piece in his living room.
Yeah. Well, art can be anything.
Yeah. This podcast is art.
Art is for art's sake. Oh my God.
I'm art.
Imagine if they find this in the future.
I'm art.
Yeah.
You're art.
That reminds me of have you guys seen Nathan For You?
Mm-mm.
No.
You'd love it. You'd really love it. I think it's on.
Is he for me?
He is for you. He's for everybody. It's this guy Nathan Fielder, and I think he might. The subject of the show. I mean, every episode gradually, like the main point of the show disappears after a certain while, and then it becomes a whole different thing. But it's essentially it's like a comedy. But what it is the setup for the show is he's a business consultant for like small businesses, but they don't realize that that's not really the point of the show that he's filming. Like it's a comedy, and so he comes up with wacky, weird ideas for the show's sake, but that also kind of work for the business. So like there's a couple famous, like he did like dumb Starbucks for like a cafe, like it was like which it's funny though, because a lot of stuff he does ends up in the news, but because the way the show is, you edit it and then it comes out after the fact, so you don't really know that's connected to his show until, oh wow, I saw that in the news. But anyways, the one that's kind of similar to that in some ways, there's this bar, and they passed a law there where you can only smoke inside if it's for like a theater, a live production of a theater. That's the way you can smoke inside, or something, or that's a loophole in the law. And so he decides, well, we'll have the patrons be smoking, and we'll play it off like it's a production. So he has an audience. So they sit out in this corner of this bar with like the curtains and everything, and they open, and just these random people just talking and drinking in the bar, and smoking cigarettes. and people are watching it. So technically, it's a theater production.
Mm-hmm.
And then what he does, and this is like takes it into a whole other level. That's why I said the immediate plot kind of disappears in the beginning. He's like, oh, well, we can make this into an actual production. And so he has like, he videotapes them and then he transcribes what all the patrons were saying, who aren't actors. They're just regular people at the bar or whatever. They don't even know their production. And then makes it into dialogue so they can put on an actual production of the play.
Interesting.
Weird.
And just takes it into that whole other, goes a different way with it. I think another thing, and so that made me think of that. So I was like, that is weird and strange, but it works. Justin, you fell.
What was that?
Nothing. I forgot the camera was on that side.
It was a Wendigo. We're at the halfway mark. You can do your question now.
Oh, okay. I was going to do something else. Okay.
You can do that after.
Yes. Okay. Question.
I wasn't even a watch.
Oh, look at my wrist.
I was going to draw a watch on here, but then I didn't.
Okay. Question. So any object, I'll just use a boat in this example. So let's say over time it starts breaking and you repair it to a point where, I don't know, a couple decades from this point, it has no original parts anymore. Is it still the same ship?
You know, it's weird. I was thinking about something similar to this recently.
So if you got a boat and over time you replaced every single part of it with a new part for it to keep running, but nothing was from the original.
Yeah,
is it the same?
Original's left. Yeah, it's the same boat.
No.
You know what's weird? You can go you can go super far into the opposite direction, and you can say it's several different boats. Because unless all those parts came at the same time or whatever, technically, if they came over time, then they're from different eras and different.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's the same boat, because like if you have one boat that you get the next model of it, completely different boat, which has new parts, but it's a different boat from what you originally have. So if you have the original boat that you have, replace every part so none of it is of the original, it's a new boat.
Okay, so what percentage then would it be considered the same boat?
I think you'd have to have like a 50, 60. Yeah, 50,
50.
Once it becomes greater to the replacement side.
Yeah, I'd say more than half of the replacements makes it new.
Yeah.
Okay. So if a person is replaced with all their limbs are gone and they have robotic limbs now, are they the same person?
Well, yeah.
I think as long as you don't change the head.
What was that?
Well, that changes the ratio for this. It's essentially the same question.
But a boat is not sentient.
You're getting into
Does sentience have to do with original to replacements?
Yes.
I don't know about that.
Well, okay.
A boat doesn't have a brain.
We're getting into like a
Why does it have to have a brain though?
Because that's what holds the personality of what it is.
Well, I'm not talking about personality. I'm talking about original to new.
Well, okay.
Doesn't be alive or not. If an object or a living person.
Oh, well then, yeah. No, it's fine.
I don't mean to digress this conversation, but this reminds me of a Mitch Hedberg joke.
All right.
So like corn on the cob, right?
Mm-mm.
You don't
I've heard of such a thing.
You've heard it, yeah. So corn on the cob is you get it, you pluck it off of the thing and then you unroll it and then it's corn on the cob. But it's just corn. It's not necessarily corn on the cob. They've turned into two different things because of, you have popcorn and everything. But it's just corn. But say the same thing, you wouldn't cut off my arm and call my arm Connor and then put it back on and call it Connor altogether.
Yeah.
It's true. Got a point.
But anyway, I think when you get into people, it becomes more of a metaphysical question of what is a person? Is a person just like our skin, our skin suits or our body bag, meat bags, or are we like our personalities and ourselves? Like, would I still be Connor if I like put someone else's brain in me, but I still had like all the same, bits and pieces?
I wouldn't think so. I'd say you have the body of Connor. I wouldn't say that you are Connor.
Okay,
lucky
so
guy.
What if your whole body was robotic, but your brain is digitized? It's not a physical brain anymore.
That's called the
like a computer.
This sounds like altered carbon.
Yeah, that's called the singularity, my friend.
So are you still the same person at that point?
I think it comes down to comes down to that weird like philosophical question involving, once you get into digital and everything, is how much of it is within your own control and how much of it is within your programming. Like, and then you get into free will and all that crap of, like, do we
Which
really?
brings up something I remember.
Yeah.
I saw a movie yesterday called The Mandela Effect on Hulu. I recommend it if you haven't seen it.
I like the art for it. It looks really wild.
It's very wild. Definitely an odd trip. But they go on the theory of the Mandela Effect of, some things you remember.
Yeah.
And he's trying to find out the reason for it, the reason why it is a thing. And he believes it's alternate universes colliding and universe like mixing and trying to refresh itself. But then he also thinks it's simulation, like an update or a bug or something checking in the system that was not refreshed, like we're living in the Matrix kind of thing. Which brings up like the thought, like, if a tree falls, does it make any sound?
I think Charles is gonna like this podcast.
I don't know who that is. Anyway, so a tree falls, makes any sound. No simulated user, human being is around. Does it make the sound? Does it generate the sound to make? Which also brings the question, if you're like, there's a desert that we know that's there because the world's all been searched. If a desert, I'm sorry, this just got into like a lecture kind of thing. If there's a desert and no one's around for like 300 miles, not a living being, is the desert even there in the first place? Is it just gone and not generated? Is it like they sampled it to like Minecraft, like when you're going to Minecraft and like the world generates and builds and you see like the tree formation and everything, and you leave and come back, it'll be the same tree formation. But if you leave, the chunks disappear because it's not rendering all that at the game at the same time. Is that the same with the world? So like if no one's in a building, is there anything in the building that it's rendering until a user goes in and sees it?
I'm all about that hypothetical stuff, but it's also a bunch of hooey. This is the real world, most likely. There's still a desert.
I brought up that
make sound when they fall, regardless if someone can hear it. Not in the Matrix, most likely.
I don't know.
It could be.
But here's my one complaint. My one complaint with the whole thing of we're in like a simulation, like our own conscious or whatever is creating, I think if I was in control of my own realm, I wouldn't make it this shitty. I think
I do have control of it though.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. But here's Patton Oswalt told a joke, and I thought, what if that was true? Because that sounded brilliant. He was talking about when his wife died, and he was like imagining, oh, what if I'm dying and my brain just morphed this like second worst possible scenario where my wife is dead, Trump is president, and the world is like falling apart. Like, I don't see like the razor bats yet, but I know they're coming. Like, just like that, thought, because like when you die, your brain just releases all this dopamine, and then it puts you in, like, what if, you're experiencing the last couple moments of consciousness or something.
But well, in video game news, to get off hypotheticals and stuff.
By the way,
speaking about Minecraft,
by the way, this wasn't sexual. This was Chase going further down the rabbit hole. I just wanted to
figure that.
This is the rabbit, which is me, and this is the hole.
I guess I could have done this.
Digging myself into.
That would have been.
That would have been a little.
Yeah, but what are you gonna do?
Avengers game has had a little announcement of a character.
I'm sorry, what? Which game?
Which Avengers game?
Avengers game. Wow. What game?
Yeah. Oh, you're
gone.
The Sky. Sky game.
Yeah. Little known character, kind of niche. Spider-Man was announced. Yeah, Chase right there.
Yeah.
I
What about him?
I thought his name was Brown Record.
Well, apparently he's going to be a PS exclusive.
What? What? No! No!
What are they doing here?
Spider-Man!
Yeah.
No! Damn, Sony. Darn it.
Terrible news. They already have him as their own game. Why take him out of another game?
You know why they did that? Because of all the backlash of Marvel not having, not gonna. Yeah, they wanted to tease Disney.
I've been keeping up with the Avenger news a lot.
I know.
Pretty much every day.
Yeah, it's in our fucking group chat.
Yeah. Spider-Man supposedly is going to be the only exclusive character for any platform. So.
Yeah.
It's kind of dumb.
Everyone thinks it's dumb. Even PlayStation people are saying it's dumb. But.
Well, yeah. Who's gonna listen to PlayStation people though?
A lot of people, unfortunately.
Not me. I mean, I've listened.
Nerds.
Apologies to any PlayStation viewers watching this.
I'm sorry, but I'm just coming from like.
There's your logo.
I'm just coming from there.
Sony, if you want to sponsor us.
Always
not a sponsor.
No.
But if you want to.
We don't want that China money. I always thought of like PlayStation people as being like the nerdier video game culture. Like now it's probably more like PC people are probably nerdier than PlayStation.
I would agree.
Not the Nintendo?
I picture console users to be more casual than PC players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know PC players get like fucking obsessed. It's weird.
Well, they spend so much money on their PC.
But I think the weird thing though with PlayStation players is that they really only ever focus on one game. Like you have the PC players that are really into like Dota or are really into like
WoW.
Or World of Warcraft. That's an older one, but like basically that. You know, where they get like this huge system that runs this one game that they play for years, and that's about it. Whereas like we play Xbox or PlayStation, and we play multiple different games or across, different generations or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just
no, I understand that.
Yeah.
I still think the most introverted group of gamers would be Nintendo. Like they have
they're not even there.
Yeah, there's like no.
They're on the side.
There's like no competition games, and there's no like angry news really. It's just like here's a new game. It's a platformer. It's
here's your family games.
I think
it's a family game. Yeah.
I think the only like angry thing I've ever heard of like Nintendo was that whole thing where they wouldn't allow footage of it on YouTube.
Oh, that is true. Yeah, that's outside their games.
Yeah,
though, but yeah.
Has Nintendo ever made a rated M game?
I mean, they've had.
They're bound to.
They've
Call of Duty associated, I would imagine.
I had Call of Duty World at War on the Wii. That was an M game.
Oh, okay.
Are you just saying Nintendo games?
A Nintendo game.
Okay.
Like Mario, Donkey Kong.
I don't know.
Like one of their actual.
Would you count Resident Evil?
That's Capcom. That's not Nintendo.
Okay, well I don't know.
Probably
I don't know
not.
distribution versus production and all that stuff.
It's okay. But
Capcom.
So Chase is excited for Spider-Man.
Chase is excited for Spider-Man. Even though he can't
excited.
Play it.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Someone who has a PlayStation 5 or whatever that. What are they calling it? Are they calling it PlayStation 5 or?
Yeah, PS5.
PS5, and then
yes.
Xbox is
Xbox Series X. Not confusing with Xbox One X or anything or XX.
Xbox X.
They're like cover names for their products are way cooler than the actual.
Yeah, Project Scarlet.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Scorpio.
Way cooler than Xbox One.
One X.
One X. They just
gonna give it to you.
Did you want to do that?
It just makes you think of Rick and Morty every single time beating up Nazis.
Beat up the devil.
Beating up the devil. Not the devil. A devil-like person.
Sorry. Apologies.
I like the
character's name.
All right,
yeah,
the devil.
Like the devil.
Mr. Something.
I like Faustian bargains. Those are really interesting.
Connor, have you finished season 4 yet?
Rick and Morty?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Neither have I. Okay. Only saw the first 5 episodes.
Real hardcore fans over here.
I need access.
They waited so long.
My problem is that I had all the episodes recording on TiVo, and then for whatever reason they fucked me, and so I watched the first episode, and then it deleted the first and the second. So now I'm like, I don't want to watch the third, the fourth, and the fifth because then there might be continuation.
Yeah.
So I'm just like,
no, that sucks.
Yeah, I'm just like. Well,
so then you're like, gotta go watch Solar Opposites again.
I have.
Solar Opposites is good. To me, Solar Opposites like an 8. Rick and Morty's a 9. Like Rick and Morty's better, but they're both good.
I think the only thing I was reading a thing, I was like trying to figure out people's opinions on it between Rick and Morty and Solar Opposites, because there are people saying that it was better and there are people saying that it wasn't, and I was like, okay, I'm trying to figure out where the derision is between the two. And I think it comes down to, and we won't really know until the second season comes out if all these claims are true, but that Rick and Morty has more story structure. And there's more of a linear, sort of path between, things happening and everything.
I guess so, because Rick and Morty starts with like episode 1, maybe goes into 2, and then the last episode, and it kind of connects everything. But for Solar Opposites, it's like the pilot and then adventure.
Yeah. Their Solar Opposites, I think, it's the two, because there's 2 frames when you're working. I'm gonna sound really nerdy, but like when you're talking about like theater, and the Greek theater, created most of what we consider modern theater stuff. But like Greek theater, when you're writing a play, one of the rules was you either have to be consistent or consistently inconsistent. And with Rick and Morty, they are always consistent. Like something always pretty much happens.
I feel like I heard David Sicking say that. I dropped his name. Yeah. Don't say that.
Cut it. Cut it. Okay.
Cut that. About it. Sorry.
I'm gonna bleep it out, and it's gonna sound.
Like sorry.
But and then Solar Opposites is consistently inconsistent. I know. I'm keeping aware of the time. So time will tell whether that's a good or bad thing. It's like, I feel like it's like Rick and Morty on crack, where like they just do they do everything, like all like the weird sci-fi stuff is just like amplified, and that just becomes like the whole episode. And
what's the Goofy's guy's name? Clem?
Clam.
Goofy.
Like there's the smart alien and then
Terry.
Terry
and Corbin.
I like all of Terry's shirts. They're all awesome.
The DILF and you have one of them. You have the butterbeer.
I do.
Yeah,
I do have that. I have that as sweatshirt. So. Any users.
All right. We got to end it there. I hope you loved our rants about religion. And
7-layered hellacious dip.
Hellacious dip. Remember, we're all going to hell, so it doesn't matter what you believe in. Everyone's right and wrong.
There you go.
So no one gets anything.
Oh, yeah. Right. Clear shot of my background, too. All right. Bye.
Guess it in the comments.
Yeah.
Bye.
If you'd like to sponsor us, let us know.
Yeah. Give us that sweet China money. Bye.